In today's podcast, we have Mr. Richard Abbey Jr. doing business at a very young age, class 6. Maybe you were about 10 or 11 at that time.
I've seen the color of poverty. I've seen how it is. It hit me hard. And I thought that, no, I need to come out and still out of it and all that. I want to do something that is not that. And I want to make sure my event is different from somebody's event. I had to walk kilometers in order to get to the school because there wasn't money for transportation. I said, let's go negotiate. He said, no, once you have signed the contract, it's difficult. I said, no, I can change it.
Hey guys, it's Rahim. Welcome back to Property Investment Blueprint Podcast. In today's podcast, we have Mr. Richard Abbey Jr. He is the CEO of Xodus Communication Limited with operation in Ghana, the United Kingdom, and South Africa. He has over 15 years of experience in a field like event management and IT. Richard has founded multi-award platforms such as 40 Under 40 across various regions and specific awards also in Ghana. He's also owned a transport and rental business and a technology company. Additionally, Richard has provided consultancy services to major organizations and written an autobiography to inspire others, which I'm kind of crazy to kind of hear about. He has played a significant role in fostering entrepreneurship, very interesting, and Ghana through his involvement in various competitions and awards. Richard, welcome to Property Investment Blueprint Podcast. How are you?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm fine. And Rahim, I hope you're also doing well. And I thank you for the introduction. I said there's some few things that I wanted to expand in that area, the multiple awards. So the thing is that in 40 Under 40 began in 2017 in Ghana. And then right after in 2022, after 5 years, we decided to say, no, why don't we bring the continent, which is Africa, together? And so the first one was held in Ghana, which was in 2022, 16 countries participated, and then we moved on. So the Africa version now has come to stay, and then in order to move to the blocks and the regions of Africa, we did the second one in 2023 in South Africa, and then again, and then we did the third one in East Africa, which is Kenya, and then next year in 2025 we're going to do it in Egypt. I mean, get into the pyramids and the desert in 2025, and then so that's 40 Under 40 Ghana. That's Africa. And then South Africa owns its own as well, which is called the 40 Under 40 South Africa. Then United Kingdom has its own. And then next year in 2025, again in Dubai, from 8 to the 12th, we want to do the global version. We're bringing the world together, of course. I mean, because people are calling you every day, Rahim, that can you come to the United States of America? And then you can expand with your same capital and all. Okay, then do one for everybody. Then you solve the problem. But the individual
Yeah, Dubai. I can't wait for Dubai. You know, I remember you saying it in the award. I was like, yes, I'm coming to Dubai. One of the reasons why I want to come. So that is all amazing. I love that. I love the concept behind it. I love the idea behind it. But Richard, let's look back a little bit here. What is your contact from your earliest years? I need to understand you.
I was born somewhere in 1980, and then I recall that in my childhood days, I saw the resilience beginning from my childhood days, because when I was in school, I do recall that even at class 6, or what we call class 6 in Africa, I was teaching my colleagues and collecting money from them. So at that age, and of course, I do recall that I was late 2 years in my education. So my age was actually when I'm in the classroom with my mates, I'm seeing that the Methuselah, the one that is older than them by 2 years. Because of the fact that there were issues about paying school fees and all that, education was a bit of a problem. But I sailed through, from the beginning, and it's always easy. My dad was not available. It's in my book at the time. So then I needed to survive. And so I engaged myself in a lot of things like selling what I call metal scraps. Engaging in some selling of products on the market and all that, and became what we call on our side mate, like a conductor, like say somebody who's also assisting the driver on the vehicle and all that. Quite a number of things. I became a shoe shine, a shoemaker, cobbler at a point, and all that, just trying to survive. And these are very early years of my life, and I had to enter into junior secondary school as well. One of the best schools anyway, but still I had to walk kilometers in order to get to the school because there wasn't money for transportation. And these were days that I could say that it was a form of building leadership, but you wouldn't realize, because then you were striving, and when you lived in a house where there was no light, and you needed to make sure that you have to learn with a candle. I mean, a candle
Mm-hmm.
light, and sometimes, I mean, it's very difficult. And we have to go through these moments even in a junior secondary school. Then you come back to secondary school, but then in the secondary school, then we started also we started teaching a bit, like started teaching. Being on a bicycle and go to schools and go to some students and their parents and talk to them and teach them. And so just to get revenue, because the whole idea was that
Wow.
how do you survive in moments of this nature? And that's one thing that I was strong on, that no, we have to make it. So right after I went into the university as well, it was also not difficult. It was very difficult. There was school fees issue. They couldn't pay fees and all that. I need to engage in some kind of jobs within the university and also be able to survive. And so right after school, I took a decision that I was not going to work for anybody. I mean, in fact, in
Mm-hmm.
2006, that I said, no, I want to be on my own. And
Mm-hmm.
right? That's not an easy kind of decision to take and say, hey, man, you're going to go on your own. But then when I took the decision, then the very time that I took the decision is when I got people trying to like employ me. And I said, no. So we got it as friends, three of us and all that. We said, no, we're going to do something. We started with some basic printing jobs and all that. And then
Mm-hmm.
out of that,
Mm-hmm.
man,
Mm-hmm.
that came out of Exodus Communications in 2010, decided that, okay, I was going to form Exodus. And then the idea was on looking at what I call industry awards in terms of
Mm-hmm.
appreciating people. I began with a furniture fair. It didn't work out on all
Mm-hmm.
that. But then, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, throughout, let me just say, it's been a very hard one in terms of even trying to put up a brand out there, especially
Mm-hmm.
in this country. So,
Mm-hmm.
and also moving internationally. Yeah. So this is the journey. I mean, the journey is full of ups and downs. It's full of troubles. It's
Yeah.
full of when you even got married, and then the fact that you know that
Mm-hmm.
the question was how are you going to take care of the woman and all that. The in-law asked
Mm-hmm.
you, I mean, what kind of job do you do? And then you have to, I mean, in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, see how best you survive by what you
Mm-hmm.
eat, and
Mm-hmm.
and and and, and so difficult times. But then, I mean, we had an agenda to make sure that we'll make it. Yeah,
So I feel that I really do understand where you're coming
yeah,
from. But doing
sure,
business at a very young age, class six,
yeah,
that's maybe you're
yeah.
on your maybe you were about 10 or 11 at that time,
So
right?
I would have been 12 because no, I
12,
would have been
yes.
14 because
Yeah.
then basically in Ghana, it would have been that at that class six, you should be 12. But I
Yeah,
was
12,
2 years ahead of the people. So I was 14. Yeah.
14. But then what
Mhm.
draws you to have that? Because this is about thinking outside of the box here, right?
Yeah.
As a 14-year-old, what really makes you think about, wait, you know what? I might as well do a bit of business here to make a bit of money.
Yeah.
So what really triggers that?
The thing is, when you're coming from a very poor home, and you know that there is no money, nobody's there to take care of it, and you look at the family line, you realize that people haven't made it, and that there's a
Mm-hmm.
reliance on you to make it. I mean, you move. That's the motivation, and then you do realize that in the midst of people, there's a competition, especially around you. How do you sail through this and then go out? So for me,
Mm-hmm.
it was like a decision to say we have to make it no
Yeah.
matter what, we have to make it. Because I've seen the color of poverty, I've seen how it is. It hit me hard, and I thought that no, I need to come out and still out of it and all that. So I think that the desire that I had in the time is what kept me moving, and the fact
Mm-hmm.
that academically I was trying to study hard because. When I look at my child who's looking very easy and everything is free for him and even learning is difficult for him, I laugh because I remember at the time I needed to sit down and make sure that I make it. And because I knew I would teach some people, I needed to learn ahead of them so that I can teach
Wow.
them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then this teaching even continued to till university. I mean, even 1100 when we were teaching us some few things like classics and all that, and I have to gather people teaching them at the time. Yeah, I think I developed a love of
Mm-hmm.
teaching people and yeah, and telling them that I mean, just imparting, and that's what I realized. Yeah. So the
I love
decision was
that.
because, Charlie, you were
Mm-hmm.
coming from a background that is not working, and you
Mm-hmm.
were not seeing poverty, and you don't want to do, you want to break the glass ceiling, and you want to
Mm-hmm.
go up there. Yeah.
Wow. So it's like you have that motivation or courage, or perhaps
Yeah.
some people call it pain, right?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
you are in a pain. You at early age you recognize how severe that pain is,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
decided to kind of say, you know what, I need to create a system that would allow me to make a bit of money so I can support myself as
Yeah.
well as my family at that young age. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But at the same time, then you had to walk to school, right?
Yeah.
So how were you able to manage that? How were you able to walk to
Yeah.
school and be able to
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
business as well?
It's a bit of a kilometer, some kilometers, man, because I can 10, 11, 12, or sometimes 15. I mean, the point is there's no money for you to get, they don't give you money for transport. And so you have to find a way of navigating your way to get to the school and combining a lot of things. I mean, that was the only thing. I mean, I was into carving. For carving, I was shining the carved items, the artifacts. So
Yeah.
sometimes by the time you finish this part of your fingers, they all moved
Mm.
out because you were trying to shine it. And a couple of things that so you do 1, 2, 2, 3 months, and then you are done, you move on to the next one. As for the shoemaking one, it was a Saturday. The gentleman was closed, so I was assisting him, and I became an expert of using even the rope in order to be able to sew. Today I can sew a shoe. I'm sure I can even do
Wow.
it and put the glue and all that. So and then the market was close to me. It was called the Kaneshi Market in Accra. And so
Mhm.
what I was doing was that right after maybe the evening, I went and sell what we call rubber bag, plastic. When you
Yeah.
buy something in UK, say plastic.
Mm.
We were selling those plastics for people who had come to the market and they needed to put things in there. And then sometimes the
Wow.
competition even starts from me because there's a guy, he's tall, and when there's a shout or you find a client saying rubber bag. When a client
Mm.
says that, what it means is that he's trying to who is around that will come close. Then you see people running, getting close to sell it. That is when you begin to understand that you have to compete and make it happen. All these
Wow.
things were building the system, but we probably did
Mhm.
not realize, but we were building ourselves for the future. Yeah.
Wow. That is beautiful. That is
Yeah.
beautiful. I like that competition. So that is very good. So what living as a young age without a father has
Yeah.
shaped your life to where you are today?
Yeah. Yeah. So my father existed, but the thing is that he was not responsible. He knows that. In my book, I said it clearly. He's still in existence.
Mhm.
He has changed and has regretted some of the things that he had done at the time. I
Mm.
think that until they saw my academic excellence in the JSS, when I scored, I think 81 or so, when I was about to go to the secondary, then he realized that
Mhm.
no, this guy, oh, he's got some brains. So I think that somehow, I don't know. I mean, later on, life had to come back and regret some of the things. But at the time, he was not responsible. So it means I needed to be responsible. So
Mhm.
and my mother was not with me. Don't forget that my mother left me at the age of 1.5. That is when I was one and
Wow.
a half. Yeah, and went to Nigeria. And so I saw my mother when I was at the age of 18. So I don't have what
Right.
you call, motherly thing like love. I've learned to live and exist by my own. So I don't know what is called, this father and mother being there with you and all that. So, but I felt the absence made me do more because sometimes maybe if I was reliant on them. And one of the things I say is that you don't have to, you must understand that you were brought to this world. And then when you came to the world, you came alone. Nobody was out with you. So understand
Mhm.
that you must achieve and make things happen. So if they were there, I probably would have been dependent and maybe I'll not get to this far. But well, whatever God does is okay. So yeah, even when they were not there, I was now
Mhm.
scaling through and showing to them that I can actually make it. Yeah.
Wow. God bless your soul for that.
Thank you very much.
Not being with parent and achieving what you set yourself to achieve,
Yeah.
which is what we're going to talk about later on,
Yeah.
is mind blowing. It's
Sure.
absolutely mind blowing. But before we set sail, just for the audiences here, what do we expect the audiences to learn from
Yeah.
this podcast today?
Yeah. But my main key thing that I tell people all the time, and I like them to learn, is that it's not to give up. And that the thing is that they say, don't throw in the towel, put the towel on your waist. And
Mhm.
understand that life does not give you what you want. I mean, you
Mhm.
have to give life what you, because if you wait for life, it's gonna beat you down to it and it's not gonna help you. And I
Mhm.
want people to learn what I call resilience, in that in the times of storm, you must be able to overcome the storm and go for it. Because there is nothing beautiful is when what you want to achieve becomes a reality and then
Mhm.
it exists. And I want people to learn what we call initiative, that they should learn not to be dependent in the circles of where they are and think that people should take initiatives for them. But then
Mhm.
they must come to the point of taking initiatives and becoming proactive and having what I
Mhm.
call energy. Because you see, talent doesn't take you there.
Yeah.
Because there are people that sing, but you see, if you don't make any effort, you can be singing in your house and then only your households will be listening to you. It is not the talent
Absolutely.
that takes you there. It is actually good to be your resilience and your ability to achieve. So you
Mhm.
can be an artist and draw, but nobody will know you. How do you get there? That's the thing.
Mhm.
So I want them to learn this, and I want to learn them to learn responsibility and not to
Mhm.
blame people for where they are, but blame them, find a way of having a competition with themselves. And that
Mhm.
the greatest thing you must know in life is that,
Mhm.
in fact, the closest enemy to you is your own flesh. If
Yeah.
you don't deal with yourself, then you're going to have a
Mhm.
problem. So sometimes you need to
Mhm.
carve your own self gradually until the time and how you want it to be. So if you don't deal with yourself, you're going to have it. And then another enemy that you must know is time. You do not have it.
Yeah.
So you are living on a borrowed one. I mean, let people know that they are living on a borrowed time. The time you have is borrowed. So you are only trying to make sure that within the time you want to make a certain achievement and all that, just be guided by the fact that you do not have time and you need to be able to achieve and make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess there are a lot of things maybe on the way I'll be saying, but these are the few things I want them to learn and let them to understand that it doesn't matter the environment you're coming in. And entrepreneurships are not necessarily born. They are not.
Yes.
They can be
Absolutely. I
created.
love
They
that.
can be created. Yeah.
I love that. So let's now look back then. You have gone to school, secondary school. Maybe you said you went to university, and you
Yeah.
said one word just now. You knew you did not want to work for someone. You wanted to take your finances into your own hands instead of
Yeah.
relying on anybody else. So
Yeah.
when you then finish, what was your first business, and what triggers you to start that business in the first place, and where we are with that business?
Yeah. So in the university, I was taking up some jobs like there's what we call the student union and all that. So I
Mhm.
was in the general assembly and I was in project committees. And
Mhm.
so I didn't go to school just to learn. Of course, I tell people all the time when you go through academics, don't just go learn. And that's why I was taking on activities in the school. So it was building my ability to write.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I joined publicity committee here. One day I
Mhm.
joined this and all that. So I built the skill from that. So I was taking on smaller jobs, sometimes to printing jobs. I mean, to go and print
Mhm.
for people and then add a margin and all that. And then
Mhm.
there were also times that we have to look for sponsorship. So I was learning how to write sponsorship proposals and also look for sponsorship and go to them and all that. Now,
Mhm.
before I finished the university, I realized that most of the halls have their magazines, all have their own magazines.
Mhm.
Now, the magazines they need adverts in the magazines. So
Yeah.
when I finished, I formed the first company called the Abbey Jnr. Now, the
Mhm.
Abbey Jnr was intended to look for adverts for the halls in their magazine and get a commission, which
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
quickly started with and then started doing until the time I formed alliance with two friends who wanted where we started what we call the TLG concept, but we all at a point, one decided to get into theater production, which was something we are doing at the time, and then I decided to enter into what I call event management
Mhm.
and stuff. So it was a decision right after the school that this is what I wanted to do and all because I have already in the school days been doing a lot on my own, going around
Mhm.
and getting things and even sometimes so I feed on per diems. Sometimes I serve in
Mhm.
some meetings and all that, they give me some per diem. And I was a campaign manager for some politicians now who have become politicians in my country now. I was a main campaign
Wow.
manager for them. Yeah,
Mhm.
what I do, I build strategies and all that
Mhm.
because man, we have to survive. Because when you
Of
do the
course.
strategy, that is where they give you some money and all that. And
Mhm.
I follow them to different regions and
Mhm.
then execute the strategies. And I had successful wins for some of them. So then I started getting more contracts from other people and all that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, do you still have that business, or you had to sell that business on,
No,
or leave
yeah,
it with
no,
your business partner?
no.
So,
So
where have that
Abigail on the
business
way.
gone?
Yeah, Abigail wasn't really registered. So it was something that I formed that I didn't officially and register it and all that. So it was the
Mhm.
Exodus communication that I had to register in 2010. So, but it's a build up from because Abigail worked for only 1 year or two after the school. And then when I
Mhm.
did national service, then that's when we formed our own as three persons trying to
Mhm.
do what we call theater productions for some
Mhm.
time. So in 2009, thereabout, we all decided to just go our separate ways. Uh,
Mhm.
and then that was another difficult moment, as in when the three of us decided to form that because we didn't have an office. We're sitting on the floor literally, and we're penning
Wow.
out things on paper and all that.
Mhm.
But all of us today, I can say, uh, I mean, one guy, for instance, I had to train him in this event management and award business or something. Let me say award and how credible you can make it and all that. And today he's into it, apart from the theater production he's doing. So in the end, they have to benefit something from me as well. And I was the donkey guy. What I mean is that I move around all the time.
Mhm.
I don't care where you have to go on the sun and go get the thing done. But in all
Mhm.
these things, I was building contacts.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. You have successfully launched several prestige award platforms.
Yeah.
What is the vision behind creating this platform, and how do you intend to impact the community they serve?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, so when I was coming up and then I formed up the Exodus communication and I realized that there were awards in my country that I looked at I did some work with some few people and I realized that some of the awards that I had seen were not process driven and I
Mhm.
felt like it was a one-man decision and all that. And then also
Mhm.
I did realize that um, some awards were given to the whole industry. So when you say auto industry, only one person will win. When you
Mhm.
mention maybe aviation industry, only one person. So the question is that how do you break down these awards rather to get to the people who may be doing something? Because I remember when I did an aviation award in this country, there was somebody who's been directing the traffic. Those guys that control the plane. For
Yeah.
35 years, nobody has honored him. The day he was honored, he started crying. So I came to the point of the fact that why don't you now people may have money, but the next thing they need is appreciation. People may have all the things they want, but sometimes they need to be recognized and all that. I mean, while they are alive, and we do not have to recognize people when they are dead and read tributes all over the place and be celebrating them and all that. So I took the decision to say, no, let me get into this multiple awards system. So I began with Ghana Oil and Gas Awards. I mean, it still stays on the 11th year now in Ghana. And then moved on to manufacturing awards and moved on to insurance. So I was hitting the industries and to see how to celebrate even the very lower person who is like a promising company of the year, an unsung hero. So it was expanded. The awards were expanded to meet up with these people. But 40 and 40 was like, I was getting to 40 and I was not yet 40, but I was looking at it. I said, in Ghana, to become a president, you have to be 40. Now, 40 seems to be a mid-year in terms of, I mean, if you look at the age we have on Earth. So, I mean, what sometimes they say life begins at 40. So my question was that how do we recognize people who are under 40? How do we look at them and all that? Apparently, that existed in some other countries, but I wanted to define it differently. I mean, I knew folks had the 30 and the 30 and all that, but I thought that 40 was a key age. So I introduced it in 2017 from 40 and 40. And my major intent is to impart and also to let people that are in different fields have the opportunity to meet together. So you have somebody from community development, real estate, technology, and all that coming together at one place. And that field is what I needed. People who can grow together. I mean, that's the thing. So that when you're at this age and they're all together on one platform and over years they grow, they now still will link up and as they continue to succeed. And that's the whole thing about spotlighting young entrepreneurs, achievers, trailblazers, pace setters, visionaries. And just to let people know that success can be achieved at a tender age. You don't need to have white gray hair before you are successful. Yeah,
I love that. I love that. So I see that diversification in the 40 under 40. And I never knew, quite frankly, you were the founder and it was a Ghanaian founder. I never knew it. It was on the day then I realized, wow, okay. And it's very diverse. Very, very diverse. And normally, because if you see like programs like they expect to see like lots of Africans, people that come from your country, but yours was very diverse. We have every sort of work of life in that environment. That is a very, very hard thing to do, by the way. Talking to you from someone who lives abroad, how you've been able to kind of make that event out. It was an amazing, one of the best events I have ever been to, and I can see the eagerness. I can see you wanting this to be a success as well. I was observing you when you're standing by the stage, making sure everything is going on. So I love that, and you're also trying to appreciate the under 40s. It's just an amazing. It just blew my mind away. So running a business across multiple of countries must come with unique challenges. Can you share how you are able to manage complexity of operating in different cultures, countries, and environments?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very tough one, honestly. The fact that I took a decision and said I was going to be international was not easy at all. I remember the day I said I was going to do 40 and 40 Africa, but before I do things, I try to visualize them. And when I visualize them, I try to see the people that will be at the event. Now, I try to leave it. So the thing hasn't happened, but I try to leave the circumstances of that. So when I began and I said I was going international with Africa, and I was wondering, how will I do 40 and 40 Africa and expect people to travel from countries and come to Ghana? But somehow certain countries came, and they loved the whole idea of even traveling. And in fact, they loved the idea that it was one of their own that was doing for Africa version. So I got to a point, and I said, okay, now when I was going to take a decision to now go to United Kingdom, South Africa is also a very complex place because it's more like an Europe of Africa as well, and so. But taking a decision and looking at the cultures, like you said, I mean, like UK culture is quite different from the culture I know in Africa and all that, and how to navigate through the culture of conservatism and also where you are distrusted before you are given a chance. I mean, that's the kind of culture I was dealing with. That you see that they call it that it's a scam fest before they attend to you, and they are not sure and they don't know whether this is going to work and all that. Now, before I got to United Kingdom, I had registered a company in United Kingdom when I was not there. I was in Ghana and I registered the company.
Wow.
Now,
Well
when I
done.
registered the company, I formed the jury in United Kingdom when I was not there.
Wow.
This is how this thing is. So by the time I came there to meet Bobby Trahan, that was my first time of meeting my head of judge, like my head
Wow.
judge. And so
Mm.
when I came in, I know I got a lot of confrontation. And people said, no, this is not Africa. Here we don't do this like that. You money must know. The thing of status quo. I mean,
Yeah,
the
I know.
problem of this is the status quo. This
Mm-hmm.
conservative people, this is the chair you must use for the event. They don't
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of, this. And I was like, no, give them the best as well. I mean, you never know whether these people will be interested in it. So I dealt with those, even my own colleagues who were not sure
Mm-hmm.
of exactly what I wanted to come and do there. Because the question was that we want to bring the money to Ghana. You are
Mm-hmm.
now rather bringing the small resource you have, because don't forget, £1 is 20 cities or 21 cities. So by the time you convert all the money you have, when you come to London, London mellows you and makes you a very small person. Whatever you have is nothing.
I get that. It
So,
makes sense.
so the question is, how are you navigating the system? But then, I mean, when I say I'm going to do something, right, when I write it down. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
am not the one who believes in the principle to say that don't tell people. I don't believe in that. So
Of
when I
course.
begin to write on my status and begin to share, what it means is that it puts stress on me. It start
Mm-hmm.
telling me, Richard, you've told people you're going to do it. You have to do it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so the people are my encouragement, but they don't know. So when I
Mm-hmm.
tell people that I said we will be in London and then in the first day we're in Mayfair. Imagine that.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, the first
Wow.
event was done in Hilton Hotel. So the question was that, Richard, how are you going to do in a place where I'm told it's for the Arabs, it's for the
Mm-hmm.
elite, it's for the high? And I said, oh, it was a very difficult one. In fact, how to even, but I said, don't follow the status quo. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. So I tried to change the status quo. So I've
Mm-hmm.
met this culture of, I mean, also where people in other countries where you realize they don't even care. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, Ghana is very hospitable. I mean, of course, people can even attend to you on the street. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
what in the United Kingdom I realize you can drag bags on the streets. When you're dragging it here, it's noisy for people, but you can actually literally drag all of your bags in the United
Mm-hmm.
Kingdom and not feel shy. One day I was doing a bobby, like, no, carry it and go. So I began to learn, and then whenever you
Mm-hmm.
travel, it opens your mind. You understand things that are being done elsewhere that
Mm-hmm.
you're not doing in your country. So those were
Mm-hmm.
cultures that I met with in stiff culture of, I mean, we don't care. This is it. This is
Mm-hmm.
the price you pay. We
Mm-hmm.
bring the items before we do it. Here, I'm able to give people 3 months before to pay them for 2 months. I come to
Mm-hmm.
a culture that says that if you don't pay, we don't move. The
No.
customer was not important as a service provider. This is
Mm-hmm.
the thing I'm dealing with. So,
Mm-hmm. Wow.
but we try to navigate them and then be strong and all that. And sometimes I do negotiation. In fact, negotiation is one of my strengths as a
Mm-hmm.
businessman, because I need to tell them, no, I don't want this, I want that. I know I don't want this, and I tell people, and one thing is that there's a manual around the event. So there are things
Mm-hmm.
that must be in the room. Sometimes people want me to compromise, and I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to compromise. Yeah, I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
compromise. That this is how it is. So if you come there, if I show you, for instance, Rahim, the hotel's chair that were given to me, it's that kind of chair that we use for our church service here. So in some of the churches, and I told them I cannot use this room for this for entrepreneurs. These are people who have achieved a lot. They
Mm-hmm.
can't come and sit on this chair. So I
Mm-hmm.
have to bring external chairs to the room.
Wow.
I told them, no, I don't like your napkin. You don't have underplates. Let me give you underplates. There's a certain ambience that must be created in the room. And no
Wow.
matter how much it cost me, Rahim, what I've come to the point is that Brandon is like taking care of a child. When you go
Yeah.
and get a baby, he begins to stand, begins to crawl. That's how Brandon is. He
Mm-hmm.
crawl, he begins to walk, he begins to stand, and he begins to
Mm-hmm.
run. So that's the
Yeah.
process of Brandon. So it comes
Mm-hmm.
with things. I mean, like last year, for instance, when I had to leave with £19,000 loss. Straight up.
Mm-hmm.
I came home and it's like, really? Are you going to go back? No. But I said, no. An African is probably not have done what I am doing. And it's
Mm-hmm.
possible that most times would have taken the award from elsewhere to our end.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that somebody cannot do it here and do it and become credible and it's not corrupted?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you
Mm-hmm.
cannot sponsor the event alone, those rules alone make the
Mm-hmm.
award very credible. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't somebody go to do it and make it well? That
Mm-hmm.
within the region that is thought of, the fact that there are a lot of corruptions, a lot of fights, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
youth rising against each other,
Mm-hmm.
are there people that are excelling that can also do this and bring this out there so that we tell our story better and we can tell the story of others other than our story being told all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's that kind of diversity that I wanted. That's why I said
Mm-hmm.
I'm going global so that
Mm-hmm.
you know that anybody can do what you want to do. You can become what you want to become no matter
Mm-hmm.
who you are and where you are coming from. It doesn't matter your race, your skin, your color, your language. You can
Mm-hmm.
be, and stop blaming people all the time and say that this they took this from us, they've taken this
Mm-hmm.
from us, they've taken this from us, and then because of that you've had an advantage. No, how do you overcome the advantage that some people, some other people have had? We
Mm-hmm.
like sitting down and saying ABC. And I was telling people in South Africa, stop talking about apartheid alone and stop talking about the fact that the people overtook the land and all that. What can you do now to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that you save?
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I just want to break that down a little bit here. You talked about so many points. I've been taking note like crazy here, right? Especially you having the event. By the way, the 40 under 40 award event was amazing. It was
Thank you.
really, really prestige,
Thank
right?
you.
You deal with the way you done it. That's the reason before we start the podcast, I asked you if you've lived in the UK, right? Because you've got that touch. It
Yeah,
was amazing. But one of the
sure.
key questions I wanted to ask is we're gonna get to that. But how were you able to overcome not just the forex differences, 26
Yeah.
CDs to a pound, that investment alone, right? Because you have to process that information, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
that must be lots of millions
yeah,
to
yeah,
do that
yeah,
program, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
first of all, how are you able to overcome that obstacle? Because that's another
Okay,
obstacle in the first place.
okay.
And also, how are you able to kind of get people together in a country
Okay.
that you've never lived in?
Maybe.
Because some people came from Switzerland, some people came
Yeah,
from different country.
yeah,
So
yeah,
what is the skill or unique
yeah,
ability you have that enables you to do that?
yeah. So Mohim, I think that event management is not a joke, and gathering people is one of the most difficult things. But first of all, mentality, the issue of mentality. That's why I said that you must have the lion mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see, like I made a statement the last time I said the lion doesn't eat the grass. And he will not. And no matter how much you can't force the lion, whether you force him, you're not going to eat the grass. He must find a way to survive within the jungle. So it'll be
Mm-hmm.
depending on some animals and all that. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, so I have a mentality of that this is the focus and this is where I'm going. The meat is what I need. As a lion, I need to eat the meat. So I don't care how many obstructions will be to the meat. The focus is that I have to take the meat. So
Mm-hmm.
I beat my mind. And another thing is this: when I see fire, and I know this is fire, this is what I believe in, Rahim. I jump into the fire, so I don't calculate by doing scientific a lot of calculations and maths and say no, the fire
Mm-hmm.
it will not burn. No, no, I don't have that time. So now,
Mm-hmm.
when I do that, there are a lot of people that are going to jump into the fire. So I jump in first now, and I start making sure I'm quenching the fire gradually. Now I will receive burns
Mm-hmm.
on my body,
Mm-hmm.
but I would have quenched the fire in the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day. Those
Mm-hmm. I love
burns can
that.
be healed, of course. You need
Mm-hmm.
scars to get to the stars. So I don't have
Mm-hmm.
a problem with the scars on my body and all that. My scars are ingrained in my inner mind, in my being. You
Mm-hmm.
won't see it, but they are very strong. Is when I start telling you the story. So I
Mm-hmm.
beat and break the mind and make sure that the mind has control. That is why I keep pushing. So when I'm doing an event and I've not seen it yet, I'll post the logo on my status and I'll write it is happening and I keep doing that. Now, why I'm doing that is I'm imbibing the thing into my system. I need my system
Mm-hmm.
to accept the thing that it can be done. When
Yeah.
it's accepted, then that's the whole thing. Then that means it will be done. Now,
Mm-hmm.
because there are people, so that my wife even get amazed. I say, Richard, how did we? I say, but honey, you were here with me. We say we're going to do it. So when I
Mm-hmm.
beat that mind, then I come to deal with it. Now, I do not want to see the currency. So I try to equate the currency
Mm-hmm.
as equal.
Yeah.
Because when I begin to do a conversion, I'll get sick.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I don't want to do it. Because there was when I was doing the event and I was coming to another country to gather them, what is the
Mm-hmm.
strategy to get to the people? Okay, now
Mm-hmm.
how do you get into a country that you do not have your way out? You have you, they are guiding you. You have people that have been there, some Ghanaians and some friends that have been there telling me that, okay, Richard, this is it. But in most times, there is a bit of negative to me, like trying to let me know it's not easy. And I don't like it when you start using those words like it's not easy. I like
Mm-hmm.
positive vibration. I do not like negative interruptions.
I
So
love that.
when they do that, they keep it to speak negative, man. I tell them stop. And there was a
Mm-hmm.
lady I met, for instance, who was trying to tell me that, look, this is not Africa. This is United Kingdom. And so I said, no, no. So what is it? Like what? So we cannot do it. And
Mm-hmm.
and when I saw the event that the person does and I compared to what I've done here, I was like, no, this is not the person I have to speak with. Because this person also was known as a stylist or something. But I felt like, no, it's not really the kind of stylist I want. Because the
Mm-hmm.
money I spend on my event, Rahim, I'm telling you, some people will not even spend it. They won't. They won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
They'll go like it's too expensive. Why are you spending this money? No, but I changed the mentality, got into the Nigerian kingdom. Now, how did I gather these people? So I tried to use the network. How did I get my head of judge, for instance? I realized I was standing with one guy who had gone for an award, and they were taking a picture, and I looked at the lady. I said, "Lady, I want to talk to." That was a former 40 under 40 winner in Ghana who had taken a picture with my head judge. And I said, "No, I want to talk to the head judge." Straight, I get the contact, I call her, I speak with her. I start looking around and all that, and I put them together. It's not easy, of course, but sometimes I think it's the tenacity, it is the speed, it's the energy, it's the fact that prove that this must be done and can be done. It's the motivation. You understand? So, and the level of desire and what you want to see is what keeps you moving, because you need to see it done. And that's the whole thing. So gathering people from like Switzerland and all that. For instance, one Bobby Traham was connected there. I said, "Bobby, how do we get speakers here?" I said, "Okay, let's bring them together," and all that. And some of the values, like you said, in fact, when I look at all the money, when I come here and I mentioned it, and I look at my staff and I mention the amount of money, they go like, "Oh God, I mean, you spend over what, 100 pounds?" So it was like, because they know that £100 alone is not a joke. And even my fellow people that live there and work,
of course,
know that per hour, that money I'm blowing is like maybe 5 months or 6 months or 10 months of their salary, or maybe 1 year. So they go like, so someone like, I wish I held over your business and I was actually, like, I live in Britain and I have this business. But I said, what is stopping you from doing that? What makes you think that you cannot do it? Because you conceptualize your mind that you want to work and work and work and make money alone. That's all. So you're not ready to open up the space and become an entrepreneur. That's the thing about people seem to be a little fixated with some few things, like maybe cleaning and sorry, I don't want to go this into, but you see, it's a bit worrying because they get too fixated with certain kind of jobs. And they're not ready to think that we can do it and expand and become entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
You understand? So if you live by the thought of the fact that I will always be the one to receive work from people, you're going to have a problem. Yeah, you're going to have a problem. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So now I'm going to touch on to the side of mindset side. You talked about saying, "Look, Rahim, before I do this, I visualize it first."
Yeah.
In essence, it has already occurred in your inner mind.
Yeah.
Right. I love that concept. So I'd like you to kind of talk to me about the concept of visualization. What are the skills one needs to have in order to be able to visualize? Because any entrepreneur I've ever seen in my entire career, people are very good in visualization. They see things before they happen to themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So looking back to what you've achieved in life, what sort of skills do I need to have in order to become a really, really good visualizer that would see the future and then go after it and keep me going?
Rahim, I don't think it's really like a skill, but I think that it's when I remember when I wanted to buy a car, what's called Sorrento. I love the name Sorrento at the time. So anytime I saw people that were having the car, I keep telling them that's my car. And I was talking to the people and they were not. They were like, what am I doing? I was telling them, no, Sorrento. I want to buy Sorrento. And I tell them that's my car. So the guy looks at me and says, maybe I'm mad or something, but because I had the name in mind and I want to sit in the car and I've seen the picture of the car. So when I close my eyes, the car is in front of me right now. So I wanted to own that vehicle. It wasn't, at the time, it's the name I love and it's something that actually people, they hadn't bought a lot in the country. So I just wanted to sit in there. So I feel visualizing comes with, sometimes in your own room, I remember, that you need to draw the things that you want, or if you can't draw them, get pictures of them and post them in the room. So how do I visualize this? Now, I sit here and I have seen the Dubai venue, and the venue is Hilton Business Day, right? Or Hilton and it's Business Day. Now, I've seen the building. The building is so beautiful. The day I saw the tall buildings, I have figured out how people were moving into the building and they were coming in and they had met together and they were networking. Now, I'm doing this and processing it in my mind. By looking at it. Now, it's not yet April, but I have seen Australia, I have seen Canada, and it's not prophetic. It's just me seeing that there'll be a Canadian, there'll be US, there'll be German, there'll be France, there'll be people coming from there to nominate. Now, by having that mentality alone, you see, there are energies in this world. Put spirituality aside, which we are very spiritual and we're all Christians. But the energies need to move with you. So if you don't do anything at all, the energies are relaxed. They need to move. So I realized that when you stand at one place, you become stagnant. But anytime you're moving, they move with you, and God blesses the effort of people. Of course, God doesn't come to drop money in the pockets of people and say, collect or by the side of the road and you need $1 million. No, you need to work hard. You see? So you need to work. So this is how I do it. I keep doing it and keep doing it. And then I keep telling like my workers, and I'm telling them, we're going to go to Dubai. Then I will laugh. They will look at me. Then I will tell my wife, I said, no, honey, we are getting them there. We are going to be there. We will do it. The event will happen. Nothing will slow it down. Like the day of the event, for instance, when let me give you an example before I come there. The day of the event, there was my red carpet host said he cannot make it. It disappointed me on that 2 days of the time. Then I said, oh, this is one of the things I know. I always prepare for this thing. The usher team said that no, the money they were charging was not, they dropped off. 2 volunteers dropped off.
Wow.
And you see, I keep saying when they die, like I said, honey, the event will be done. You see, it is the belief. There's something called faith, and it's not just belief. Because belief is not small. There's something called the principle of faith. That the things that be not as though they were. So they don't exist, but they must exist in your mind.
Correct.
So that's how it is. So the things that you have not seen existing must exist. And also, I don't do things because I have money. No. I do things because I have got fine, but I do things that I know that it's going to happen. So I don't wait. So when I sit back, my accountant will tell me, boss, we don't have money for sponsorship. We don't have money to get this thing or that. They'll tell me these things. When they tell me this, they're going to get me confused. So I tell them, don't talk about it. We are doing it. So I do things. Don't wait for money before you do something. If you wait, you keep waiting. You have to start moving and navigating the processes, and then as you keep going, somebody will bring you into the truth. Somebody will say, okay, no, I can do this, and then it start going and all that. And entrepreneurs should not fear losses.
Absolutely.
I don't know why people always want profits all the time. I mean, you have to understand that sometimes you have to break down and then lose a bit. And then anytime you fail, Rahim, I said it's a rehearsal. So you begin to rehearse for success. So you get to know, no, that's a wrong means. I got to understand that last year I was paying some money to some people who didn't do well with my production or something. I realized I learned from there, and I chose a different hotel to that should give me a cheaper price, even though it's still in South Kensington. And when people said you are in zone 1, it's a expensive area. Why are you there?
Very expensive.
You're not going to the zone. I said, no, the event is for them. It's for the people who have achieved, and they should come and celebrate. And so that's the visualization. It's very powerful. It's very, very powerful. People ask me how. I say, close your eyes sometimes, see the things, and then if you possibly print them, keep looking at them. And then one day, it's just like flying. Because I have not traveled to United Kingdom before. It was in 2020. So I paid the hotel before I went for the visa.
Yeah.
Wow. So I imagine I've gone for the visa, and then they tell me, we are sorry. But you see, the principle of faith tells me, pay the event. I've sent them money already. And then I tell the country, the visa, and I say, I've paid money into the country already, so I'm going there.
Absolutely, I love that. I love the visualization, because I do the same. Whenever I want to do something, I try to visualize it. I see it happening. I see it manifesting, and then I've got the blueprint already. I've got the map. I just have to follow that. It might not be 100% the way I visualize it. But the end goal always be what I anticipated it to be.
What you actually desire to do.
So what you desire to do.
It's the vision. It's the vision. And I tell people that, of course, that, I mean, if you let the vision lead you, and then don't jam the vision, and don't lead the vision. I mean, this is what you want to be in the next 5 years. This is what you plan and all that. This is the roadmap. You say you want to be. So let the vision keep moving you to the direction and all that. So I say, let your vision scare you. So every morning when you wake up, you see the vision, so scary. Are you going to do this? Yes, you're going to do it. It's scary. You are not scared of the vision. The vision is scaring you.
I love that. I love that, because that's what gets you to wake up and do extraordinary things, like doing what you've done in the UK of all countries. That then takes me nicely to your autobiography. I can never be mad again. It's a quite compelling title. Can you dwell into the story behind this title and what message you hope to convey through your book?
So the book actually captures my childhood days and all that. There were times I stayed with my uncle, who never saw use of me a bit and all that, and I slept on a veranda. Veranda is like a porch. for years, but thank God I didn't even get pneumonia. So for years I was sleeping there, and it takes me back to just recall. And sometimes I go back to look at the house when I was 40 years. And I look at the house and where I actually slept and looked at the structure. And I said, because there's no vision, nothing has been done in the house. No changes have been made. The family still keeps the house the way it is, ceilings open and all that. That's the problem. If you can live for 40 years or even for more years and still the house looks the same way. So I was going back to school days and telling people the journey of my life. But where the name is coming from, I Can Never Be Mad Again, is actually from South Africa. Now, in 2022, when I did 40 under 40 Africa, I decided to say, I finished Ghana, so I was going to South Africa to do the 40 under 40 Africa in South Africa. The gentleman there was some gentleman who signed the deal with me who had won after and said that he'll be the lead and that they'll be partnering and all that. So he signed an agreement with me and said that they can raise $4 million. You know, right? Whenever I remember this money, that I laugh because the guy said they will raise $4 million as sponsorship for the event because they have connections and all. And then I was selling the rights for 1 year for them. So I sold the right about $22,000 to use the name 40 under 40 Africa. So I was going to go with them and I was going to get a commission of the $4 billion. So my wife and I had already planned the stores to do, and then we planned the money already, how to spend the money and where we were. Then I go to the country and the guy ghosts me for 27 days. I don't see the guy. And I know the event must happen in Leonardo Hotel. I don't even, and one of the things about these events, I never use a less hotel. It's either going to be a 5-star, it's either going to be, I don't even care whether it's going to kill me or break me down, because that's the standard I've lived to the event.
Right. Yeah.
This guy goes me 27 days, and I'm in South Africa. I don't have a bank account. My company is not open there. So luckily, there were nominees that had won before. So the strength of this 40 under 40 is such that if you talk to me, I can call somebody in Uganda. I can speak to somebody in India. That's the strength of these awards. I get 26 or 30 countries, I can actually speak to people. So there was a nominee there was a alumni who I engaged and trying to help me and all that. But remember, I was having multiple cards, like 5 cards. So when people need their money, and that place is not like here. So when they send invoice, pay before we bring it. So I don't have a bank account. And so that they have to call me, then they'll be reading my card. They'll read and then they deduct. Then some of them, so I have to go to the ATM, cash machine, and take it out and then deposit again for them. So these multiple cards, every day I have to move from here to the mall. And the ATMs were in the mall. And I have to move every day because they are demanding. And they're telling you that it's not going to happen. We won't be there. And then, I mean, even the guy we got for sound and the guy we got for chassis and stage and all that brought half of the stage. So the stage that was done was, well, we mechanized it that you if the MC goes back too much, you fall down. Because the guy didn't give us. You are in another person's country. 27 days, this guy is out of touch.
Wow.
Nothing. And you have to pay the hotel. And that's when negotiation comes in. Where the hotel principle is that when you tell me 150, you can't reduce the number, but not me, Richard. If I give and I realize the circumstance is very bad, I will tell you that we have to do it. And that's where we go to tough negotiation. We have done budgets, we will not change it. I said, no, we have to change it. So this is what made me say, I said, if I couldn't be mad within that period of time, if I didn't go mad, then Rahim, I won't be mad again. I can never.
That is a massive disappointment, that is.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Because I was literally at the point my head was dividing. When I sleep in the night, I wake up around 2. I've not experienced what is called pressure before. I don't know what it is because I'm naturally a sanguine and I don't get worried about things. That's my strength. I don't get worried about things. I can fight with my wife right now, but I will sleep and she's not asleep. Well, I mean, which is like we hit with something, but that's me. So I don't think of the moral too much. I don't go like now. I go. So when I do that, it worries my senses. So I don't like it. So when I'm coming to the guy, my wife tells me, "Oh, look, it's too much expenditure." Once it starts, you know, I'll stop it. Because when you do that, you start hitting me and getting my mind. So, I mean, in that number of days, I got to the doctor and the doctor was like, one day I was realizing, oh well, I went to the doctor. The doctor said, "Hey, my friend, if you move one step, if you fall down." I told him, "No, I'm not going to fall down. Stop saying that." So the doctor was in the kind of special talking to me on the screen. And then I told him, "Okay, madam, you know what? Let me sit down for some few minutes. It's going to calm down." So I sat down. And I relaxed a bit. The pressure started going down. I told her, "Look, it's because of the situation I'm in right now. That's why it looks like I'm not able to, I'm looking like pressure and all that stuff like that." Because that's how far I got there. And then they gave me pressure pill. I told that I took it one day and I said, "I'm not going to take it again." I didn't take it again. I didn't take it. I said, "No, I don't think it's because of the situation." And the guy came on the last day of the event and came to sit in the events.
Really?
So this is one of the toughest, if I have toughest times of my life. But South Africa was one of the toughest. In fact, United Kingdom first year 2023 was another toughest of my experience and journey. Where I needed to now call friends and tell them some of the full friends and they were calling them. And then you realize that that's what United Kingdom, there's nothing like quality people calling people for money. People don't have the money lying down.
No.
It's when I call my friend say, £150, the guy didn't text me again.
I bet he goes like Jawasen or Fiaka.
Rahim, you are from where?
I'm half Guinean, half Sierra Leonean, but my foster mom was a Ghanaian.
Oh wow, that's nice. That's right. I got one guy was the one who supported. Said, "Okay, give me 1,000, and I was going to get back to you." And even the country the person was doing my services for me was a Nigerian, of course. I mean, that had come to put up a service yet, and even as there was no consideration. There was no consideration. Yeah, even that night when we were in the room and we were all dancing and all that, I said, "Then you sent me a text, Richard, £250 more to pay."
Are you serious?
Oh, I remember this is funny. I know, and there's a code word I'm not used to it.
Yeah.
And moving around, and I have looked plenty. The day the hotel was, I had given the hotel 150 as a number in Mayfair. Apparently, the manager was a Nigerian, was at the top there. And whenever I go, I'm meeting one, assistant who comes, Richard, we don't do it this way. You cannot reduce the amount of money. I called my head of one of my jury members. I said, let's go negotiate. He said, no, once you have signed the contract, it's difficult. I said, no, I can change it. I realized later when I met the manager from the top and I sat him down, he said, for the first time, according to the woman, nobody has done an event and has left. It was left with £650 to pay. I came to Ghana and paid them in 2 weeks. He said that's never happened before. Yeah. I said, yes, it will happen in my time because at the time they said, Richard, you have not finished paying your money. It came to around about £18,000. It was £26,000. I negotiated that I couldn't do the number. It came to £18,600. And when I mentioned this money, I know this money is crazy in my country. Then I told the woman, I was like, okay, we can't serve the wine. So we are collecting all the wine. This is 30 minutes to the event. Guess what? You are going to collect the wines on the table. Oh, this matter. They were there to call. I told them, I started calling them. Look, literally on the phone for more than 15 minutes, negotiating and telling the woman, literally crying. We didn't tell me that. Look, I said, let me owe you $650. So that's when I called my friend. It was about 2,000 something. I've paid all this money. Then I sent him the 1,000 and I said, okay, I'm going to owe you $650. I can say, Richard, if you come back, I came back and I settled it and all that. And this was, I don't even like the event venue as in the room that I used in Hilton Hotel. I didn't even like it because of the structure of the place, but it's a name that I had done and I thought like, let me just do it. And people, if everybody, my board chairman in Ghana was telling me, what did you go to do at Parkley? Yeah, so that's it, my brother. So that's I can never be mad again. I mean, if I wasn't mad at the time. And he talks about my school days and he talks about my ex at the time, of course. And I that's one advice I give to people, that sometimes when women are with men, they must come to the understanding that if you find a man as industrious, don't rush it and say that you want someone that has wealth all the time.
Yeah, true.
You can begin with people and they become worthy. My wife met me, my neck is a long, lanky one. Wow. He has a picture of that. But the thing is that when you stick and stay with them, so this thing about let us get it now. No, you don't have money. You don't have money and all that. You find out the people in the days of my school were doing what we call boga. They travel outside and come back. So some of the ladies liked them. At the time, I didn't want to score travel. Now, Rahim, I'm tired of even traveling. You see, life, it can change in 1 minute. And that's what people don't do. So at the time, my girlfriend, when there is a birthday, I go and give her a paper drink. And she comes to give me t-shirts, but I don't have money. So I give a paper drink and stuff like that. I'm sure even today, sometimes they will even know that. And I loved work at the time. The only thing why my lady had left me at the time was that I could be eating with her and then there's work and I have to just go out. Because at the time it was poor. But you see, when I married my wife, he understood the rudiments of life and was with me in it. Well, one of the things our ladies are not doing now is that sometimes they want it prepared. And I wrote down in the book that you need sometimes to go on a journey with a man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So talk me through the 4 Ds in that book, because you
Sure.
briefly explained what those Ds are when I was in the event. I just wanted my audience to learn a bit about those, because
Yeah.
I think those are really good.
Yeah. So I did psychology when I was far back in school and all that, but it don't work. I'm not sure I work with a lot of the psychology, because in Ghana, everybody's, you know what I would say, everybody's sane, everybody's okay. So you can't, even if you go and study psychology, you can't apply it anywhere. So,
No.
but I learned Sigmund Freud, and I understand that salivation comes after seeing particular food. The reason why KFC will do an advert and such that the chicken will you get attraction to it because you salivate towards it. I mean, Starbucks and
Mhm,
all that. So
mhm.
the point of life is that there must be a desire. Your first principle of life is that you must desire whatever you want to become, and that's it.
Absolutely.
Nothing that is
Mhm,
desired, it's not. You don't earn it. You can't just be there. Nothing is just there, and then it comes to you like luck or something. So the principle is that you must have a desire towards the things you want to become. So when I
mhm,
knew that I want to become one of the best communications company, or maybe try to become an event management company. Even now, like I'm trying to fight for an ISO for the first time in this country for an event management company, is because I want
mhm,
to do something that is not done, and I want to make sure my
mhm,
event is different from somebody's event. So you may go to an award, but you will not get a lapel pin, a brooch.
mhm, mhm,
You may not get a souvenir or something. You may
mhm,
not, you understand, there are certain tickets, some little things like these glasses. I mean, you may not have that kind of environment that you want, but I wanted to create an environment. So I believe that the principle is that desire what you want to become. Now, the
mhm,
next thing is that you must take a decision that I have
mhm,
desired that I want to do this year. I must take a decision, a very firm decision, to make sure that
mhm,
this is going to happen. So the decision, it's then where you calculate means and find out the processes of getting to the place where you have. And once you decide, you see, when you are strong in the decision, you're not thwarted by
mhm,
circumstances and stuff like that. The decision is what you're working with. The next thing is like determination. When
mhm,
you
mhm,
determine, that's where the storms come. This is the critical point
mhm,
where you're going on, and then the hotel tells you that, I'm sorry, Mr. Abbey, you have not paid all the money, so we want to cancel the event. In fact, I was in Kenya,
mhm,
they told me when I was doing it, and then they sent me a bill. And then I said,
mhm,
no, you can't cancel the event. He said, we have not paid that, so we are going ahead and cancel. I said, no, you need the funds. I know that you hotel, you need the funds.
mhm,
Sometimes when I came to the hotel in South Kensington, and then I asked them, when is the setup? They said, you can only set up on Sunday in the morning at 10. And then Rahim, I realized that they started setting up from the hotel from Friday for me. I asked them why. So the
mhm,
hotel was empty. But you are creating
mhm.
artificial shortage and scarcity. You are creating
Exactly.
a certain circumstance for me to feel like it's so busy and all. It's not. You need the funds.
Mhm,
So when I tell me no, we are going to cancel, it's not going to happen, I said no, it's going to happen. So that determination, when they say we'll
mhm,
collect all the wines on it, I said no, we
mhm,
don't collect it. Let me
mhm,
find alternative. Who do I call? Who do I call? Who do I speak with? How do
mhm,
I get this to you and all that? And then who
mhm,
knows who? Then I
mhm,
get people who have done events there before, and they knew the woman. I said, no, talk to her. And my
mhm,
credibility is at stake. That's where the determination is. So in the storms of life, in the troubles, in where people say it cannot be done, and you say, then the
mhm,
discipline is the last one. Because you see,
mhm,
if you don't discipline yourself, I'm telling you, there are some times that some monies you have given to women that we shouldn't give to
mhm,
them. And I say this is a bit controversial. There are things
mhm.
that you want to achieve that it gets to a point you must put your family on the back of it sometimes, just a little while.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
like you don't need them.
Mhm,
Hold on a second. Let's go
mhm,
to because in the end we're going to succeed.
mhm,
Because
mhm.
sometimes we make it to look as if that this is the success is just for now. There are a lot of successes coming.
I
So the
love that. Yeah.
discipline to understand that we need to control funds here and then
Mhm,
put in here and put in that. If I have bought a car for you before and you're using it, and today probably I couldn't buy a car on that particular day, I don't think it means I can't buy it for you or not. Discipline says that okay,
mhm.
that money is needed here. Now,
Yeah.
if you put it there, you need money to make money. That's the thing.
Yeah. Mhm,
And then you
mhm.
must come to a point where money must now begin to give birth and come to you. So
Yeah.
sometimes when I go out and come in, I go through all these things and I come in, it's like, oh, and then there's a complaint, oh, Richard, why are you still going there? I said, in the end, you better realize, in South Africa, in South Africa, I
Mhm.
met the wife of Jacob Zuma, and he became the
Wow.
board chair of the South African version. This is when in
Wow.
problems time, and the woman sat up to 2 a.m. to finish the event. Now, this is what was waiting for me.
Mhm.
And this same woman now sponsored my event the other time with 1 million rand. Now,
Wow.
assuming that I gave up, would I have met her?
No.
I think. So some
Mhm.
of the things are for your own good. Some of the afflictions and trouble and adversities are for your own, are for our own good, but
Mhm.
we don't see it. So Later I'll go like, oh, really? Yeah. So discipline is needed. What makes you wake up in the morning to work? What makes you know that in the midnight you need to reply mails? Now you're dealing with different times. Kenya is 3 hours of me. South Africa is 2 hours of me. I'm awake at 6. They are 8:30. I need to talk to my South African person. I need to now talk to somebody in Kenya. Now China, I'm producing the trophies. He is almost like 10 or something, whatever hours. Somebody is there. I need to talk to him. What time can I be communicating with all these people? How many emails am I responding to? Because some of the responses you were getting your mails were done by me. People don't know. Because my staff would like to work from 8 to 5. Anybody who's working to 8 to 5 is not going to make it.
No, I love that. I love that. I love the commitment. I love the commitment. I really love that desire for you to get it happen, and you trying to change people's mindset to your mindset. That is beautiful. I love that. So taking you back to your consulting, right? You have consulted for a wide range of top tier companies. What is one common challenge you've observed, and how do you advise them to overcome it?
Yeah, so in consulting, one of the things that I discovered that you get some contracts and jobs and something. The problem of environment I find myself is that we don't have banks are not supportive. Where I'm coming from, banks are not supportive. Banks collect our monies and it sits in their chest. When you want to collect something from them, it becomes a headache. He needs collaterals that are not necessary. So sometimes they have a challenge of getting a job, and then execution is a problem because you're unable to get the funds and all that to do it. And I love the system of the United Kingdom where I saw that, like the one guy was telling me he wishes he owned my company because he would have gotten a credit card of £50,000 or something.
True. Yeah.
And I don't see credit card here. I've not even had a credit card before since I became business. So now as I sit here, for instance, Egypt is waiting for a payment into their hotel. Dubai is waiting for it. If I had a credit card, but the country you live in, no matter the millions that fly in your account, it's difficult for them. So that's the challenge you face in those consultancy as well, that I have had in terms of finance and how to fund the kind of businesses that you get and consult on. And it's a major challenge. I mean, I had the opportunity to sit as a head judge for the presidential pitch. The president has a pitch in this country, and I'm the head judge there as well. I mean, I was telling them the same thing, that we need to look at a friendly environment for our people, of course, wherever they are. So that they can have the motivation to move on to the next level. Because if you do get to think that they can only survive elsewhere, and that they can't survive where they are, and it becomes difficult. I mean, the perception must change that we can actually make it. So basically, it's finance that we always face in terms of challenge when it comes to this consultancy. And sometimes the client's understanding of things. Like I do design US stations, so I do those designs. And then maybe the client is waiting for delivery at a certain time, shipping problems, challenges that you're having and all that you have to deal with it. Those are a few challenges, but it's been good.
Fantastic. You see, I think I spoke to a gentleman in my podcast, funny enough. He's a real estate investor. He's building thousands and thousands and thousands of homes in Nigeria, Sierra Leone, and countries like that. He did mention that. He said one of the difficulties Africa faces is what you just talked about there, credit. Because here in this country, in the UK, if you want to buy a house, right? Contrast here to Ghana. I'm not sure if they started doing this to Ghana. Suppose that house worth £100,000. You don't need the £100,000 to buy that house, right? The bank will lend you 75% of that 100,000. I.e., the bank will put down £75,000. You only put down £25,000, right? And then you're able to buy that house. And if the house goes up in value, you also get the appreciation yourself. And whilst you pay interest on that loan. So we said that's one of the massive challenges Africa have, because Africa, you cannot mortgage a house. Anyone who wants to buy your house?
No, Rahim, you can mortgage, but the thing is that the interest rate on the mortgage is about 14, 15 or percent. And I mean, and I understand yours is about 4 or 5. So you can mortgage, and you mortgage in the currency. You don't mortgage in the Ghana cedis. You mortgage in dollars. Wow. So Rahim, once the USD goes up, something you were paying 7,000 cedis will become 17,000. That's the problem here. They don't mortgage in the cedis. Yes.
That's exactly he said.
Trading currency.
Yes. He said it was crazy because he's got these houses he built in Nigeria. He's got over 2,000 homes he's built right in Nigeria. He said his target market is the people that lives abroad in most cases in other countries like say Sierra Leone or maybe countries like Kenya. right? He looks for the diaspora. He said of all the other
Mm.
countries, Nigeria is the only country he has seen that the actual people that live in the country buy the houses. They literally buy it. So they don't
Mm.
need a mortgage. They can go and buy it
Yeah.
outright. But
Uh,
he said that's one of the most difficulties of African businesses are facing, not
yeah.
just private individuals. So
Yeah.
I think also looking at that, there's a massive opportunity to that as well. And
Yeah.
if we can have someone who would think outside of the box, okay, what can we do to actually help
Yeah.
our people get facility to
Yeah.
finances? That would really
Yeah.
drive the
Yeah.
organization forward because a successful business would employ people, right? And when
Of
you employ
course.
people, it creates
Yeah,
job creation.
man.
And with that,
Yeah.
it bring money to the country, and then obviously the country
Yeah.
becomes better.
Sure.
So it's a really something that the
Yeah.
African leaders or politicians needs to look into and how they can
Sure.
facilitate.
You're right.
I
You're
like
right.
that. So
Mhm.
innovation is clearly a key theme in your career,
Yeah.
right? How do you stay ahead of the curve, and what's your process for generating new ideas?
Yeah. Yeah. So what I discovered, or what I do, it's done by people as well, and so I try to stay ahead of them in terms of the differences and all that. So I was in the country and I realized that there's an influx of a different kind of awards, and I taught some few people to be able to know how to organize events. But I thought that okay, now my next step is go to international. And and I'm very particular about innovation. So you see the magazine that you have. If you look at it,
Mhm,
for instance, the print is a 3D. I'm not going to print a normal one. I would like to make sure I print 3D. And
mhm,
I give magazines because the things that there must be evidence of the fact that you were nominated. And you may find some awards that you go. It could be some small paper,
mhm,
those giving, and but this is a full magazine that you give
mhm,
out. And I try to do things about it. So I customize my trophy. See, there was
mhm,
no right, if your trophy breaks, you have to call me because what if I give you the normal trophy on the shelf, for instance? That's the innovation I created. So you actually go and buy it and put your sticker. And one day, if your trophy is broken, somebody can go and buy the normal one like this and put it in his room. But I
mhm,
customize the trophy. So if you look at what you're having, for instance, the trophy has wings, which
mhm, yeah.
represent the eagle wings, and then it
Mhm,
has a stem that is intertwined with roots,
mhm,
showing
mhm,
resilience and standing strong. So everything
mhm,
I have done, the African trophy has the same thing. It has a representation of what I mean. So
mhm,
I've customized everything for myself. So you can't get the same trophy elsewhere. I mean, that's the
mhm,
innovation that I've created. And then
mhm,
what kind of environment do I want in my room? I want that sort of ambience of happiness.
mhm. I love
People
that.
like there were tables that people became friends immediately. And
Mhm,
right, this is what moves me. Like I saw somebody posted who didn't win. I was like, and that's one thing I love about United Kingdom. People understand that I didn't win.
mhm.
Africa, hey, no, I think I knew. Why didn't I win? And all,
Yeah.
I have a jury system. I'm just Richard Abbey Jr.
Mhm,
They have most of the awards. You've read it and everything and all that. And you still
mhm,
come back and on. But there was somebody like, what a night. Because she made friends on the
mhm.
table and they keep clapping for anybody who stands up at that table. They didn't
Yeah.
care whether they have won or not. They start unison, they start
Mhm,
supporting celebration. You understand?
mhm,
So for me, what do I want in the room? I need this kind of ambience. I need people. When I came out and I saw the red carpet, the conversation were off the roof, talking the room. I
mhm.
was like, this is what I'm looking for. Let
Yeah.
people connect to each other. You never know.
Mhm,
Rahim, somebody's going to call you. Maybe it's a real estate thing and all that. Or what of
mhm,
Richard myself, I'm here. I want to buy a
mhm.
property. And then you can show me the navigate the ways and all that.
Of
I
course,
mean, I
yes.
did something with the lady Jaya Spooner last year in
Mhm,
her wealth creation stuff. You know, how will I, Richard in Ghana, now would have known somebody in the United Kingdom and connect with and start putting some money somewhere in whatever she does. Now, this is the environment that I want to create. And that's
I
the
love
sort of
that.
thing. So, how do I generate ideas? Every time I want to find out what new thing can be done at the event. What kind of
Mhm,
performance do I want to bring there? No, this time I use this one. Next year, can I
mhm.
use this classical people? Can I do this? So that's what I do to make sure the event is looking unique and different.
I
Yes.
love that. And
Yeah.
it was indeed.
You innovate or you die. That's it.
Yes, in this one.
Yeah.
As someone who's passionate about nurturing entrepreneurship, what are the essential qualities you believe every entrepreneur should process?
Yeah. An entrepreneur must be smart.
Mhm.
May not just be hardworking. Otherwise, all those guys digging the ground would have made money by now.
Yeah,
People who have made money actually, not the ones who are digging the ground
yeah.
or doing the kind of work that required certain skill on their hands and all that. Now, the
Mhm,
question is that be smart. There are things, the monies I've made that just needed me to process it and make a call, and that's all. I didn't need to
mhm,
move and go stress myself.
mhm,
So entrepreneurs must be smart. in terms of what you do. So that's a work smart and don't necessarily work hard. So you're working hard, but if you have to work hard all the time with your effort, what's going to happen to you is that you're going to lose energy all the time. So find out means where you can just by off the hood and sitting back and want putting things together. So I have friends like the one, the second car that I had was there was an old car. They wanted the one type of the car. I go around looking for the cars and just some people, I call some people, my margin is added, I make money straight, I'm gone. So those are the things. And then an entrepreneur must take initiative and understand that he must always be taking initiative and lead from the front. You must lead from the front. Don't lead, no, see, the leading from the back. It means you don't only take some gunshots, but when you lead from front, you're able to clear the way and get to know how these people can navigate their way out. Because
I love that.
You want things done. And the people follow you may not want the same way. They can compromise and say, it's okay. Oh, so at this point, the building, the painting is fine. But you know, this painting is not well done. So you must understand that as an entrepreneur, and an entrepreneur must always have a vision that's why I mentioned that a vision that is going. And an entrepreneur must also learn to negotiate, because otherwise your funds is going to be a problem.
Yeah,
if you're not learning how to negotiate, and you must be, that's the kind of face you need sometimes. And I don't believe in diplomacy entirely, Rahim. You know, what they call diplomacy. Diplomacy has not given me food. So sometimes when you're going in a certain manner of trying to be a street professional, like I need a product to be brought to me and all that. And I realize you're in UK and South Africa, everybody's sending mails. I was like, and I need to respond to everybody's mail at the same time. I respond to the mail. I go to a point. I say, "Ma'am, I'm not able to respond to this mail. You have to drop this product aside." You know, sometimes you need that sort of hard thing to get things out. Because if I'm responding to everybody, how will I get time to sit down? Well, you are bringing me simple checks. I need to respond to mails and all that. I said, no. So for me, I think if an entrepreneur must have faith in what he's doing and believe that it can be done. Because the giving up is the problem. Let's have the faith to know that, okay, what I have begun, I can actually achieve it as an entrepreneur. And then an entrepreneur must understand, like I also mentioned earlier, was responsibility and must have influence. You must be able to have influence in the space that you're in. You must be able to have influence in the space. Today, when you Google 40 and 40 right now, just Google right now. My idea was that there could be countries that were doing 40 and 40, but the internet presence was less.
Yes.
How do I make sure I have an internet presence? Now, anytime anybody writes a story on his own, it gives me the internet mileage. And then I realized that when I Googled the last time and I checked it, when I came to United Kingdom, I used 7 years to trademark 40 and 40 in Ghana. 7 years. In UK, I used 3 months. Now, people were asking me, does it mean 40 and 40 never exists? I said, yes, somebody might have not done it, and I want to do it. 3 months. Now, I tell people that you see, when you start blaming systems and processes around you, you cannot go on.
Yeah, true.
You need to learn to say, it is me. I haven't got it right. Let me get it right. Let me sit back and do an introspection of myself. What is wrong? This year wasn't well. How can I make this next year better? And all that. And you know, remember that when you get to a point, the money you make is not yours again. You share it.
Yeah,
More,
of course.
You are just a channel.
Yeah.
So you need more. Because retaining is the problem. And remember that when you go to an entrepreneur, when you get to a certain height, your bottoms is exposed to the public. So remember there was more criticism. Not everybody likes what you're doing. Not everybody likes what you're doing, but you have to keep moving. Yeah.
I love that. You know, so entrepreneurial basically is discipline, desire, decision, and obviously you need to be determined. And I like the way you talk about priority there, you know, prioritizing stuff. You know, I've got something that I implement in my business where we've got these things that we go ahead in terms for you to determine a task. You know, can I automate it? Can I delegate it?
Yeah.
Right? Can I eradicate it?
Okay.
Right? Or if you got to do it. So we have these processes in place. Anything we need to automate, we can automate. Anything that you can delegate, we delegate. I've got all my stuff. I tell them what are the stuff that is important to you specifically. So if a specific task is not important to me, I delegate it to someone else. If it's something that is not important to everybody, we automate it if there's a system to automate it. So as you said there, you have to be smart. You know, being smart is one of those. So I like that. And I can really see that kind of
because speaking about smartness, I remember when we were receiving nominations, I realized it was not coming through an Excel. We were now compiling, copying, and pasting. Like, why? And then one day I just go like, okay, now over the particular nomination I said, staff, everybody stay home. I'm going to do this myself and find out what the problem is. Then I automated the whole thing. and it came easy. And I just said to the jury, and that's what I don't need to now take 5 days. 5 days to be compiling. So I checked, I told them we have to work efficiently from that event. I checked the hours that people are using for the work. I realized that no, they don't need this number of hours to do this.
No,
You need just
no.
2, 3 hours to do it. I said,
Mm-hmm.
okay, stay on away from home. And then let
Mm-hmm.
me show you how many hours you need to do that. Because in apparently some of the 10 hours or 8 hours that you are sitting down, when I look at the job you did, I used 3 hours to do the job. It tells me that the
Exactly.
job can be done in less hours. So that's when I
Yeah,
started meeting the problems and find defining structures in the business. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Looking ahead, Richard, what are some exciting projects or goals you're working towards?
Yeah. Well, so currently, let me just say that I'm looking forward for like a franchise where people actually will take up the event in different countries and then own the franchise. So they want to organize it maybe in Tanzania or something. And then that's what I'm looking at for. And I have a feeling that there'll be a time that somebody will actually come to offer something big for one of the brands. And
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm hoping anyway, yeah, for because if people can do it in other countries and they can take franchise, that's what I'm looking forward. And but currently, I'm looking at the global one. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
bringing the event, the world together, and then looking at it
Mm-hmm.
and moving on to another country, maybe being Canada in 2026, US
Mm-hmm.
2027. I mean, that sort of moving around, maybe being China, being
Mm-hmm.
India, and all that. That's the thing. I only know that I decided the country as and when, but this is what I see. Get the global thing
Mm-hmm.
done as well. Those are the projects I do. But there are some few things that I have. I have an IT. My IT company is mostly registration and apps, and then developing uh, apps, for instance. So there's a jury, even there's an app for the jury that we use where you can
Oh,
score your
nice.
victory. You can
Oh,
score your
beautiful.
victory, and they will know how you
Mm-hmm.
scored, and you don't need to be physically present. And all that. So I try
Fantastic.
to develop to means to solve little problems. So even in UK,
Mm-hmm.
I was there. I was just looking at. I was identifying some of the things I know that can be done. So when I get into a country, I try to
Mm-hmm.
look at it and say, what can you do here to survive? You
Yeah,
understand what I'm
I
saying?
love
So I was
that. I
just
love
moving
that.
around. I was telling some of my friends that "Hey, you can do this. Hey, it's true. I said, you are sitting here. I'm telling you, you can do this. That.
I love
Yeah.
that.
They were just watching me. Yeah.
Okay,
So I
good.
see Fortune and Fortune growing as a big thing, going global.
Mm-hmm.
And then also working towards getting a bigger sponsor who understand that, okay, I can say, I can take this thing to a level. Because when P&G began to sponsor me in Africa, they tell you that they made inroads in East Africa. They're so happy with what they have done in East Africa because they joined the Fortune and Fortune Africa there, and the mileage they received was enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Wow.
hoping. Yeah, sometimes people don't know. They say, I don't know. You are just mentioning. I don't go into sponsorship by mentioning names and all that. I try to get
Mm-hmm.
into giving the person the mileage that the person will get in order to. So I
Mm-hmm.
look
Mm-hmm.
forward for such projects and then and try to bring back even the storage system you have in UK, in Ghana, if I can, of course. I mean, because here you have to rent for 5 years. You rent for
Wow.
5 years and you take all
Mm-hmm.
your capital and pay
Mm, put it
somebody,
there.
a landlord, for 5 years because of
Mm-hmm.
storage. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
just having few things you want to keep somewhere, 1 month you pay and you're gone. It's not here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at all these things. Yeah.
Okay,
Bring some relief
good.
to the people. Yeah.
Fine, fine, fantastic.
Yeah.
For all the aspiring entrepreneurs and innovators listening to this
Yeah.
podcast right now, what is one piece of advice would you
Mm.
give them
Yeah.
as they pursue their dreams?
Okay. So the point is that the journey is not for the faint-hearted. It's not
Mm-hmm.
for the weak.
Mm-hmm.
If you are weak, don't start.
Mm-hmm.
The journey has not been made for the faint-hearted. The thing is that, I mean, roses have thorns,
Mm-hmm.
and come to understand nothing, everything that was achieved when we had come, the
Mm-hmm.
Martin Luthers, the
Mm-hmm.
Mandelas, some of the presidents and all that, they had to go
Mm-hmm.
through phases of things and challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you feel like you're weak and you feel like, so just understand that it's part of the process. So the process,
Mm-hmm.
and I always say that you cannot shorten the process of life.
Mm-hmm.
So there are times that you must understand that A must happen and then B will move on. So
Mm-hmm.
don't try to truncate it and say, I must be successful now. No.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that you can be successful, but
Mm-hmm.
then what story do you have to tell the people after? If they get to a point that you're telling your story right, and when I grew up, my mother gave me a car and I was driving and I became rich and they took me from school and I was
Mm-hmm.
traveling. What story do you have? Who are you encouraging?
Yeah.
So you
Mm-hmm.
need a story. So
Of
some of these
course.
things that you go through as an entrepreneur is a story for people that must benefit from it.
Fantastic. I love
Sure.
that. This is going to be quick. We're nearly at the end.
Okay.
Quick fire round question. Only 1 word or 2 words will be enough.
So,
Okay.
okay.
So let's go for the first one. So, what's worst advice you remember receiving?
What advice? Remember receiving.
Yes, the worst one.
Okay. The worst one,
Yes.
don't invest. Don't go and invest that money there. I'm not sure. And especially invest into a woman's business.
Okay. Best advice you remember receiving?
Um, you know that let me say that give the principle of giving,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you keep things and you hold it yourself all the time, even if your pocket is full and there's no space, there won't be money
Mm-hmm.
coming in. So the principle of the fact that if you receive, learn to give
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
others, and then we open your arms, and then more will be able to come to you. So that's the principle
Absolutely.
that I've learned. And then learn to forgive people. Don't be too
Mm-hmm.
judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something about me. So I'm able to integrate into the culture. So I can move into a culture where the dressing style is different and all that. I need to be able to
Mm-hmm.
integrate and stop
Mm-hmm.
using crowds of my end and saying that no, it's not the right thing here. Otherwise, you'll be at
Mm-hmm.
one place. So that's
Mm-hmm.
the sort of thing. And then to forgive, because I was in South Africa and I can tell you that there were people that before them they were blowing it anyhow, and in meetings they were
Mm-hmm.
just blowing because it's
Mm-hmm.
legalized. And I don't do it, and I need to
Mm-hmm.
stand in front of these people. So
Mm-hmm.
and so the principle of forgive people and understand that, of course, don't be too judgmental of people. So when you
Mm-hmm.
learn to keep not to keep things in your heart, you
Mm-hmm.
grow faster and better and all that. Because I tell
Fantastic.
you, Rahim, and one advice that I like I said, is one of the advice that my one person told me. I said when he went to the cemetery and he had a conversation with the people who were dead, and some of the
Mm-hmm.
reason why some were dead and what had brought them was just because they got angry, and that's all, and then they lost it.
Wow.
They
Mm-hmm.
couldn't forgive it, and they lost it, and they were there. So why
Wow.
would we take you into the graveyard? So sometimes we need to have a conversation with the people in the cemetery. They'll tell us
Wow.
what to do. We will probably not worry ourselves with the word. We burden ourselves too much in this way.
I love that.
Yeah.
Your biggest regret.
Is to have signed a contract without doing a proper due diligence and
Mm-hmm.
understanding and living by the need to see that maybe because I've not seen that kind of money before and I saw
Mm-hmm.
it. Sometimes some monies can even let you become a sinner.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
at the time I signed, the biggest regret was to have signed a deal when I knew that this deal was too juicy and probably was not possible. And I was not
I
realistic.
I love that. Is there something you believe that lots of people disagree with?
Yeah. A lot of people think that. Don't tell people what you want to become.
Mm-hmm.
Try and achieve it slowly and go and that's it. I don't believe. So
Mm-hmm.
when I share my ideas, and Africa is too superstitious. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
start
Mm-hmm.
thinking somebody's spiritually fighting me.
Yeah.
I don't like.
Okay.
I don't even like the idea. Don't even tell me that somebody's no. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. So don't do it. Don't say. Don't tell me you want to become somebody who do the same thing. No. But I've said
Mm-hmm.
it's mastery and class. Everything I've done, people have tried it, but they've never been able to meet that standard. I know, Rahim. I can
Yeah.
say that in my chest. They've never, and the level of credibility I have kept to the extent that when I had come to United Kingdom and somebody was asking me, and this is a British that was asking, okay, fine, that can we sponsor the event? And I said, no, you cannot sponsor the event. What if I'm a director of another company? Can I use you? I said, no, you cannot sponsor the event. Even when I knew I needed money. That's the level of discipline I've made
Wow.
for the in that
Wow.
don't try me on your words. Maybe you have to simple things on the side, you and I fight on, but don't try me there. It's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of
Wow.
discipline going happen. Yeah.
I love
So
that.
the thing about
I love that.
don't tell people about where you are going and they will it will not work, they will stop it. No. Please. It's what
I
it
love
just
that. I love that.
yeah.
So, what is the best book you've ever read or listened to?
So the thing was the truth is that I don't really read, but I think and I you know do the listenings I do mostly or what I have done more was to learn by observation in terms of like
Mm-hmm.
working with my godfather at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's to work with people and observe how they are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I do more. And then but not much of maybe listening. But there's one person that I listen to that I'm always at is Joshua Selman. I mean, Joshua Selman in Nigeria. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, anytime that guy speaks, I feel he's speaking like me. I mean, he speaks about mindset, he speaks about how you can make it and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one guy that I listen. Then Otabel, which is my Pastor Otabel. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he speaks a lot of. You see, I like people who speak about realities of things.
Mm-hmm.
Then you
Mm-hmm.
can be like, don't try to make people become more church oriented only. Don't try to make people become spiritual oriented only. Don't believe them. Let them understand they must work hard as well.
Mm-hmm.
That realism. That this is the thing. This is how it is. You either work or you don't work or you're not getting it. You understand? So those are the things that the people I really like to. But I do observation more in terms of how is this guy going? Is he
Mm-hmm.
investing here? So I was working with my godfather, and I realized that he invests in real estate. He went to water, he went here, he went there, and then I saw him signing the checks and bigger checks, and I was like, no, I'm going to sign this check. So I was observing his ways.
I love that.
And
I
he knew
love
it.
that.
By the time he sees me, he's like, oh, tell the other boys that look at you, but where were you? See Richard. Because I go to eat with him, and godfathers don't give you money all the time. But you must learn their style of business. And that's what
Absolutely.
so that's the area. I rather
I
learn
love
from
that.
the yeah.
So you learn by observing and by
Yeah.
also applying. So I love that.
Yes.
So does money change you?
No, if it does, I would have been unavailable at this time. You know, when people make money, they become unavailable and very scarce.
Yes.
But I'm that kind of go-getter person, and I'm that kind of free-spirited person.
I love that.
So I don't go like, oh, I've seen a mail,
Mm-hmm.
and my staff is waiting to reply the next day. And I think that the mail is connected to the event.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people come and write back on the social media and say, your response level is very nice. They don't know who is responding because I respond in minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I
I
love
don't
that.
try to do big manism and say, this big man now, because I've seen money. I think my wife knows that the same way I was when I didn't have is the same way I am even till now.
I relate to that.
Yeah, so money rather will change the projects I will do, but to change character. And even in my check service and God given, I mean, it hasn't. They know it. And of course, the people here, they know, like, if my work is something like I eat to them, opinion and all that. So it hasn't changed me.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. I really relate to that. I remember when I started my property investment journey, I had a landlord. I went for a meal with him. I like learning by observing people myself. He gave me an advice. He said to me, Rahim, no matter how big you are, no matter how successful you're going to be, because you are going to be successful, I can see it in you. But my advice is never, ever outgrow your business. So what do I mean by that? I said, no matter how many millions you've made, if something is wrong with your business or your property, take ownership on it. You do it. If someone did not show up, you show up and make it happen. No matter where you are in the level. Ownership. That's exactly what you just said there. You don't have to reply to any email. Right? You don't have to do any of this because you got people doing it for you. But you're taking ownership, and that's what's going to grow your business. And I've learned that now, and it has helped my business grow significantly. If my staff don't turn up, I turn up. If my builders don't turn up, I turn up. Right? Regardless what the situation is. I love that.
Ownership mentality.
Yes. Does money make you happy?
I think what makes me really happy is work. I love my work too much. Sometimes even it's a problem at home, and I try to deal with it. I think I'm very passionate of what I do, and then my success is actually when I see the things being done, and I'm at the back and I'm looking at it. So when you are done with the event and I see people holding the trophy this way, and taking pictures, and showing it and holding this way, and I feel like this is just a glass. It's in front of me. What is this? What is it doing? This is just a glass. The people place value on it, and I saw like a guy who had wheels, had crutches, and he was dancing with the crutches and had the medal in the teeth like this. You know, these things. So that people ask me, no, Richard, but you have to work for profit. I know as an entrepreneur, but it's gradual. But that is what moves me. So
I love that.
in any money that has come to me has always been channeled to business. So maybe when I start going out for correct vacations, correct one, not the usual sitting at home vacation and all that. Maybe that's why I can say it's going to make me happy. But what makes me happy actually is when I see nominees, I see winners that are happy on the stage, and they start coming back to me and say, "Well done, Richard. Well done, Richard." Like I can count LinkedIn and count the number of people what they're going to write on the page saying that what a night. I'm happy. Sorry, I couldn't win. Can you send me the lapel? I lost my lapel. Can you send it to me? Somebody smashed his trophy, and he smashed it into pieces. And he had to ask for another one, even though the trophy was £175. He paid for it and it was sent to him just in few days because he wanted to keep the trophy. Now, these things, all right, is what actually makes me.
I love that, man. I love that. I love that. Is there something you used to strongly believe you recently changed your mind on?
Strongly believe. I changed my mind. I think I have worked with all the things I have believed in for a long time. Maybe in traveling, I've come to see things that I strongly believe that what we do here in terms of this country, like us, I mean, can change. So I've learned things when I traveled, and I've seen how feasible some things are in other countries. And that's why I said I came to call my bankers and I told them I don't think it's right for you to be there not to have a credit card for me because you receive millions and it was okay for you to receive it, but you don't think you have to give me credit card
The
for me to
card.
work on it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I said the environment is not friendly. I was telling myself, why do we walk on the streets in this country? There are no pavements, so anybody can die and be hit by a car. So I'm changing my perception about settling for what we have here and realizing that no, it can be better. Those
Fantastic. I
ones
love
what I
that.
can say, but yeah, that's what I can say.
Is there something in the world right now you fundamentally think is wrong and you would like to change?
I think sex is sex, and people should know that there's a male and a female. I mean, that's it. People should stop this whole transformation. And today it landed somebody in a boxing ring, and the male was beating a female, which the word was frowning. If we can understand that, I mean, this whole trans whatever thing is not helping anybody, and then we stay focused and say there's a male and there's a female. I understand the principle, not to transform people and then later on they go and beat people in the boxing ring. And then cause a shame for them because testosterone or whatever hormone that is in you, no matter what you do to it, it still operates. And
Yes,
that's why the bigger challenge in the world, how the world is going. Yeah, should look at having that sort of change. Stop enforcing it.
Yes, I love that. You're absolutely right on that one. So keep it where it is, but don't bring it to someone else's country. You know? And believe in what you believe, but don't force me to believe what you believe.
Don't force it. Yeah.
I think we have moved on past that now. Nobody should to enforce anything in any other country. So I love that. That is beautiful. The podcast is called Property Investment Blueprint Podcast. What does blueprint means to you?
You mean what does blueprint?
Yeah, blueprint means to you.
Yeah, bro. For me, it means that there's a set target or something that must be achieved for me. And then when you come to my office right now on the board, I have my reminders written on my own board, and I'm looking at them right now. So that's it. And I have met my staff and told them, "Okay, this is the time you're opening nominations. This time you're closing. This is blueprint for me is a guide as to how we're going. Yeah, even if it's not blueprinted on paper, in the mind of the people, they know the vision. That my staff know that there's no way you can collect money for an award. If you try it, that's the end of you. And they know to the extent they tell them that if I go to him now, we're going to have problems. So that is the blueprint for me for this company. And that do not at any point let it be felt as if the award is not regarded. The reason why there was a penalty for some people who did not turn up, because see, right, there were people who have disregarded the award sometimes and felt like, what is that? I'm not going to go there. Then afterwards, when they see the pictures and they see the video, then they go like, oh, please, we're not well. If we didn't make it, can we have our topic? And there's a penalty.
No.
It's not a trouble. You're paying for the penalty of attitude of disregard, not giving attention and all that to us and all. And there are rules of the awards, there are terms and conditions. And I tell people that people should be able to know and apply for them before they apply for it. They should check it and all that. Those are things for me.
Yes, I love that. Final one. We're nearly there. If there was only one person you'd love me to interview, who will that be and why?
If there's only one person who I love to interview,
who you would like me to interview, in my podcast, who will that person be and why?
I think you should interview Obama.
Okay, good.
I gladly think that for first black president, and he paved the way. If you look at even Harris, in terms of the performance, it was not bad at all. It tells you that people are accepting and moving away from the narrative. So I wish you to talk to him, and somebody who's also coming from is it a Kenyan background, if I'm right?
Kenyan background.
I want to look at his perspective and what he thinks that the black man can do, and what we have thought of so far, and realize that what are we not doing right as black people, and what kind of mentality have we kept in our minds that we can actually change and all that. So maybe I'll like it to interview.
Love that. I'll try my best to get him on. Brilliant.
One day, my brother.
One day. What an amazing way to end. And that was a great special moment. I like your motivation. I like your inspiration. I like your energy, If someone is interested in your services, how will they contact you? Where should we follow you? And where are you hanging out on social media?
Yeah, so on social media, you can find me, my name, the full name, Richard Abbey, but the junior is always JNR, it's a short form. And you can find me on Instagram, and you can find me on LinkedIn. So you can find me on just two, Richard Abbey Jnr, JNR, and then you can find me. And also, I mean, if you Google my name, because I'm on a website, so I have a website, www.richardabbeyjnr@gmail.com. You can find me, and then we can get in touch and have interaction as well. And then
Okay.
I'm into conceptualization, PR,
Mhm.
events, media. I mean,
Mhm.
events is even my basically like what you think, what you want the event to look like.
Mhm.
Just get in touch. Yeah, we'll make it happen.
Fantastic. Richard, thank you. Thank you for your inspiration. Thank you for helping people transform, empowering people. You have been
Sure.
amazing. You've been one of the most inspirational people in this
Sure.
podcast. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thank you
It's
very
been
much.
lovely having you on.
Thank you very much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
God bless you.
God bless you. God bless you.
Yeah.